Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be discussing the recent announcement for the pre-orders and stuff for the Lenovo Legion Go. This device is really cool. There's been already a bunch of hands-ons from much larger tech YouTubers and gaming channels that this device is really cool. I have my reservations though about this device, and I'll be going over some of my thoughts and opinions on the device, but to be clear, I do not have the device on hand. This is just my speculation based on the specs and the reports we have so far. Just to be clear, I don't have the device on hand. I think my opinion could change once I do have one in person. Let's continue. This device is very similar to the recently released ROG Ally, down to the point where they have the same exact Z1 Extreme processor with RDNA 3 graphics. It is really impressive. The ROG Ally is really powerful, so this device should be the same or a little bit more powerful due to the larger cooling and power envelope this device has, according to Lenovo's website. But with the overall increase in size, it does feel like, and from the videos I've seen, it's a little bit more unwieldy. But with that little bit more unwieldiness, it does include a ton more hardware features. Like, you can detach the controllers like a Switch with this awesome OLED-like kickstand. It's amazing, and you can even have this little cradle or dock for the right controller to turn it into like this mouse contraption that looks like the handle of a gun, optimized for first-person shooters, which is like crazy to honestly think about, as that's what it's designed is for. That's just insane to me. And it even has a larger battery considering its increase in size. It has a 49.2 watt-hour battery according to their website, and the ROG Ally has roughly like a 45 watt-hour battery if my memory serves me correctly. But with that increase in battery life, we also saw the increase in resolution and refresh rate and brightness in the screen. So honestly, I don't see this probably having significantly better battery life if you're playing similar titles. But if you're playing, for example, like Cuphead, you can get like 3 or 4 hours worth of gameplay on the ROG Ally if you're playing something like Cuphead or Stardew Valley. But on this device, I suspect you might be getting a little bit more, like an hour or two more on this device comparatively. And this device is just, imagine the Steam Deck in size, but like an inch thicker. Because like, holy cow, these marketing photos on their site just doesn't really show well how thick it is until you see in like a video. Because this thing looks real thick in the videos. I don't know why, but my main concern is probably weight. Considering, some people think the Steam Deck can be a little bit heavy, and this device is gonna be heavier. Like, there's a lot of cooling and a lot of power on this thing. But this device also has 16 gigabytes of 7500 megahertz LPDDR5X RAM. That's a mouthful, but that's like 2,000 mega transfers per second faster than the Steam Deck's memory, and I think 1.5 thousand times faster in megahertz, than whatever the ROG Ally's is, because I believe that's 6,000 mega transfers per second. And so this is the new device is quite literally 1,500 megahertz mega transfers per second faster, which might not necessarily is indicative of increase of overall gaming performance, but the faster memory will help this device age better with time. Like, try going back to DDR3 1600. Like, oh my god, I recently had to use a computer like that. Oh my god, this RAM I could feel the speed of this RAM. It even has support to 2 terabyte microSD cards, and hopefully this device doesn't have the propensity to kill microSD cards like the ROG Ally currently seems to do. That is a major point of concern for all owners or potential owners of this device. And even more concerning, the ROG Ally is the same price as this. Like, the Lenovo Legion Go is going to be $700, just like the Z1 Extreme RG Ally. That puts a lot of competition in this space. This thing has so many more features and could potentially be more powerful just because the larger footprint of the device would let it cool and use more power than the RG Ally ever could due to its sacrifice for great portability. So this device, for the same price as the RG Ally, could be performing significantly better depending on the game. I know some people are getting like Cyberpunk like 70 FPS, which is crazy, and I'm really impressed by what the future of this handheld gaming scene looks like. But this RG Ally is already looking like yesterday's news, because this Lenovo Legion Go is just impressive on paper, at least. Like, I have my concerns, but it has all this features on it to help better flexible power and cooling management. The fan has like a quiet mode, like in 25 decibel range, I guess. There's like flexible power modes. Holy cow, I cannot talk. Up to 30 watt TDP, which is the same that the RG Ally can go up to when plugged in, I believe. And there's even a bypass power mode where you no longer like use the battery and you go directly wall to the processor, in terms of power. So it helps on the battery, and it lets you turbo much higher due to you're not having to go through that like extra layer. At least that is my understanding. And it uses the Z1 Extreme 8-core, 16 threads. It's basically I think AMD Ryzen 7 740U or something. It's quite literally the same thing, just a different name. It has 8.6 teraflops of performance, which, if my memory serves me correct, the Switch is at like 1.6. The Steam Deck is like at 2.6 teraflops, and like the Xbox Series X, not the Series X, the Xbox Series S has only 4 teraflops of processing power, which I know these terms like teraflops and how it equates to actual real-world performance isn't always very one-to-one, just because the Series S has 4 teraflops of processing power, and this Lenovo Legion and RG Ally both have like 8.6 in their range. Just because it has 4 point something or other teraflops more processing power doesn't always necessarily mean games would run better on that than the Series S, purely because the levels of optimization and the benefits of not being a portable device, being able to use more power. So even though these other devices like the Series S technically on paper have less teraflops, I always felt like this is a very bad metric overall to compare these devices. But for those who care, yes, these devices on paper could be more powerful or just as powerful as something like a Series S. At least that is my understanding of what these people think. I do not think that at all, to be clear. But it is genuinely impressive to see these very impressive, numbers coming out of a handheld device, barely bigger than something like a Steam Deck. But bear in mind, this is bigger than a Steam Deck. So this is all like those giant 1X players. This thing is not as portable as those other devices. People could fit the RG Ally in their pocket. Like, they can shove that fucker right into their back pocket and enjoy it. But this device necessitates a bag. Like, if you're going somewhere, like on a trip or even just going to school and you're taking this with you, you're gonna need to put it in a bag, and it's something to consider because the weight and size of this thing is quite considerable compared to even the RG Ally. So I guess the decision people are really gonna make when this comes out later this month is that, do I want better portability or potentially better performance and all these extra features that in the grand scheme of things don't necessarily matter if you're exclusively using it as a portable gaming device. I don't see very many people, when it's just them playing on their Switch, they're doing that thing where they just have the kickstand up and they're playing with their Joy-Cons. I hardly ever see people doing that. And these controllers, I also don't see many people doing that. I don't even see very many people doing the weird gun to mouse thing accessory that I think that's just unnecessary fluff that's increasing the price on the controllers for this device. Imagine if they made like a version of this where the controls weren't detachable. Maybe a version of this that doesn't have all those air mouse features, but just a one unified device, maybe with a smaller screen. Wouldn't that just be cheaper overall for them to produce? And overall, it could have been a better device that doesn't have all this extra guff that, though we do not know for sure yet, may not realistically be used. The one thing that I can say I do really like on this device, it does have the touchpad. The Steam Deck has 2 touchpads on each side. This one just has the one on the right side, which, hey, better than no touchpad if I'm being honest. I've made a Steam Deck video not too long ago, and a lot of people mentioned I didn't talk about the touchpads. And I made a note this time around to mention the touchpads. The touchpad is very good on the Steam Deck, and I'm happy to see that becoming more of a trend with these mobile devices overall. So that's just a really nice thing to see. So what are your thoughts on this device? Are you planning on getting this instead of the RG Ally, or are you just going to buy that because it's the same, performance level potentially? I would love to hear your thoughts down below. This is a very interesting device, and I genuinely want to hear more discussion about it because I feel like there's not enough about this thing. It's so interesting, and I can't wait for this thing to come out just so I can talk about it some more. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe, all that other social media garbage down below, and don't forget to have a wonderful day.